Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is News in Hypnosis. I'm your host, Isla Brock, and today we're going to talk about procrastination part 2. And just so you know who I am and a little bit about me, I am a certified hypnotherapist. I have a private practice in Visalia, California, nestled in the middle county seat of Tulare and in the middle of Central Valley of California. So about an hour south of Fresno, about an hour and a half north of Bakersfield. It's a wonderful practice. I love being able to help people, and I do use hypnosis to help people change the behaviors that they desire from what they don't want to what they do wish. And we can get into a lot of that later, but first, I want to go into a little but first segment that I have that I've been doing. So it's procrastination, but before we get to that, let's do this. And just tell you a few little ditties. This guy named William James, I don't know, he had some, I don't know if he's some sort of psychologist or whatever, but he said this, many have said this, by changing our thinking, we can change our lives. And I think it's even on my website. If you want to change the way you live, you must first start by changing your mind. And one of the things that I do with hypnosis is help people. They want to change their mind. From smoker to smoke-free, from heavy to light, from anxiety to calm, from being overwhelmed, procrastinator to a doer, whatever that is. So it's a wonderful concept, and it's scientifically a fact. You are not going to make changes on the outside then happen on the inside. Everything we do to make a change all starts on the inside first, and then it manifests itself to the outside. Another thing that this other guy says, his name is Bill Noss, he says, when we procrastinate, we take unwanted tasks and drag them through to the present and into our future. Yeah, we do that, don't we? For sure. Okay, another area of but first, my but first segment here, it's just cute little memes that I came across on procrastination. Me, a procrastinator? I'll prove you wrong someday. You just wait. You'll see. Yeah, I like that one. Or how about the one that's, I'm very busy doing things I don't need to do in order to avoid the things and doing anything that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, that happens a lot, doesn't it? Fact. You know you're procrastinating when you start looking at memes about procrastination. And guess what I did? I looked at memes about procrastination, but that's because I'm doing a topic on it. I don't think I would have normally done that. I'll work on my procrastination problem first thing tomorrow. And finally, I can go on for hours on this. If good things come to those who wait, then isn't procrastination a virtue? That's one of my favorites. Let that sit that in your craw for a little bit, huh? All right, so let's go to procrastination. I'll do it when I get around to it. Well, here are your round to it's right here. And you should be able to see round to it's on the first slide. Second slide says procrastination part 2, but first. We've already done our but first. We're going into the next slide. Procrastination is not a condition. And you see over there on the right, on the little corner of my slide, it says round to it. You're going to see those on all of my slides. Just to remind you, you just need to get around to it. Well, I'm providing those virtually for you right now. So really, you've got 5 of them right there. So there's 5 round to it, so you can fix right now. Okay, you know that I'm kidding and joking, right? Okay, just being a little light. But let's talk about procrastination not being a condition. It's not a condition. It's not a mental disorder. First of all, we're going to identify triggers of overcoming procrastination. Where's my notes? I'm sorry, I went ahead of myself. It's not a condition. Okay. A condition, let's talk about what a condition is. I went way ahead of myself. It's a characteristic or trait that is inherent and difficult to change. That's a condition. Somebody who is mentally unbalanced or has a mental issue or disorder. I'm going to come up with everyone's favorite word right now. The narcissist has a condition. They don't even know that they are narcissistic. They have no idea that there's anything wrong. You all are wrong, I'm right kind of attitude. And that's just kind of like a condition that it's mentally in their whole mental faculties. And it is a condition, and it's, to find somebody that is a narcissist to come into my office to have that realization that they've, really screwed up. But it's almost like they can't help themselves. It's just how they are, and they get triggered. And so when you want to learn about narcissism, ask me about it. I should have done a whole show on that, just how to avoid triggering a narcissist. And can you live with them? Yeah, but it's kind of like, it's a very difficult thing to do, because remember, they just can't. They have to be the showboaters. That's just who they are. Okay, but that's another story. Condition. Procrastination isn't like that. It can change. So examples of conditions commonly associated with procrastination is laziness, lack of discipline, and lack of motivation. Those are things that you can change, which makes procrastination not a condition. Okay, going to our next slide. Examples of conditions associated with procrastination, just like I said: laziness, lack of discipline, and lack of motivation. Probably if I move this over, I might be able to see better. So one of the problems, the next slide please, of thinking of procrastination as a condition, it can lead to a sense of helplessness. When you are a problem procrastinator, if you will, this idea that your state of inferiority or superiority, it's diminished. You're helpless. A lower sense of self-efficacy. I'm not efficient. I'm nothing. I can't do it. You start to lower those your own expectations down. It can create a sense of depression. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm not saying clinical depressed. I can't diagnose anybody. And you notice my words, a sense of. I don't know all the elements of depression, so please don't misquote me on that. The impact on motivation, as we continue down our slide list. Motivational impact. Okay, so believing procrastination is a condition can decrease your motivation to change and make it difficult to adopt new habits. So motivation can be created. You can develop motivation. Therefore, procrastination isn't a condition, because conditions don't typically change. Motivation can. You go from demotivated to motivated. There's this website, it was real popular for a while, called Demotivators. I think they're still around. And they have these great posters, and they have a little message on them, but they all have they demotivate you, but really I think they motivate you, and it's kind of fun to watch those. So just go look for the demotivator posters. Okay, but motivational impact. You want to make sure that you understand how do I get motivated? And towards the end here, I'm going to help you with some of that. Now, procrastination is a response to a trigger. Go on to the next slide, please. The importance of identifying triggers. They can help a person understand why they procrastinate and develop strategies to overcome that. And then learning how to break the triggers. And if you identify your triggers, what is it that's causing you to procrastinate in the first place? And it's like, so when you're knowing that something has to get done, let's just say someone procrastinates getting household chores done. It's a simple thing. Or maybe they keep an immaculate house, but they procrastinate on organizing their garage or their shed or their car. Oh, my car. It can become the cesspool of whatever. And as a result of that, it could be the trigger that stops you from moving forward. Or you go in, because, bachelors and bachelorettes, they go in and they got this overwhelming amount of dishes that just kept piling up. Do them as you go. It makes it a little easier, but that concept, although you know it logically, it's your imagination's already taking over, and it's so much more powerful than you are consciously. So your imagination's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to tackle that real quick. I used to run a kitchen for a school, and I was pretty much by myself. I had 2 ladies from the office that would come in at lunchtime and give me a half an hour of their time. And so during serving and cleanup, I loved it, because it would be overwhelming when I had so many pots and pans to do. And I'm the dish doer. Either one of us, all the three ladies there, could have been happily doing dishes. I chose to do the dishes because you know what, folks? It's the easiest job in the kitchen is the dishes. You do the dishes, you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to make decisions on what to put away, what to keep, what to throw away. You don't have to make it. You just do the dishes. That's it. It's a super easy. Now there's a little piece of help for you guys. But responses to a trigger. I know I sidetracked, but I did it on purpose. So you want to identify your own triggers, but they're not easily identified. To the slide that says identify triggers, please. And then how do you do that? How can you identify those triggers? Well, you really have to be conscious of it. Consciously aware of, am I messy or am I procrastinating? Identifying, I get things done, but do I get things done that are important? There's a book out called The Tyranny of the Urgent over the Importance, or The Tyranny of the Urgent, something like that. And it's basically looking at what's important and what's urgent. Some things for you are very important, but they're urgent for me. And some things that are urgent for you are important to me. So not everybody's the same, but those can be individual triggers. So for me, it makes perfect sense to keep my office clean. I can't imagine my clients coming in and seeing a dirty office. Now, dust is another whole other, accent I keep in my office. I live out in the country not country, the urban, suburban area, but it's all agriculture. So there's a lot of dust all the time. So I've just made it a country accent. It'll always get the best thing. But my point is, what are some of the things that you can do to help break your own procrastination cycle? Which is the next slide. But identify the triggers. You may have to make a list. You may have to think about it for a few days. But then we're going to go into how to break the cycle. And when you understand why you are procrastinating, you're going to develop new strategies and overcome it. Now, procrastination, it's a behavior. Your behavior was created by a set of strategies. Just like when you learned how to drive or ride a bicycle or swim or type or whatever, you started with some elements of a strategy and then sometimes they didn't work. And so you put your foot on the gas instead of the brake, or my day, we put it on the brake instead of the clutch or whatever, or you grind the gears. None of those strategies worked. And my body and mind were working in tandem to see, because I see smooth driving and smooth pedaling, and eventually my body catches up to what's in my head because we're creating a strategy. A baby learning to walk, falls down and it stands back up. The first strategy didn't work, so maybe the mind is going to help the body adjust. Okay, we got to put more balance on the left or on the right or on the heel or whatever. The body is making those adjustments with the mind in tow. So making the adjustments in that behavior, creating the strategies and strategy creation, you have all the resources you need to make these strategy changes. You can do it. It can be overwhelming, but you're only going to bite it one piece at a time. So you've got this big, huge chunk of stuff to do. I want you to just funnel it down to one thing in that big chunk. It's like funneling. You're chunking up instead of down. So we're going to start at the bottom of the funnel and just do one little thing. Maybe it's just clearing the coffee table, or maybe it's just spending 20 minutes outside cleaning up the yard or whatever. It's a 20-minute cycle, but that's how you break a procrastination cycle, or it's one of the ways that you can break a procrastination cycle. So things that you can do to help you continue to overcome and pretty much eliminate predominantly procrastination would be the next slide. Strategies to overcome procrastination. We're going to identify the triggers, as I said. You're going to develop a plan, and then you're going to implement the plan. But I want to procrastinate on the plan, and I want to develop here's the plan. I have a friend of mine. He's passed away now. I didn't know he was a procrastinator. But another friend of mine her husband is a procrastinator, right? And I was talking to him about the man that died. And I said, he's a procrastinator? He goes, oh my gosh, he was the biggest. He goes, he was my hero in procrastination. He was like the president of the club. He would make a list of things that needs to get done and then lose the list and say, well, I can't find my list, so I guess I won't get them done. I mean, more excuses than, peanuts in Georgia. So, developing a plan. So if making a list is easy for you, but sticking to the list, then that's probably not a very good plan. You're going to have to come up with a better plan. Maybe on your cell phone, you have an alarm clock. Maybe you put a time, at this time you're going to start this job, and for 20 minutes you're going to do this one job. It's called the Pomodoro. It's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. 3 rounds of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. But you don't have to do the same project all 3 times. You're doing a project for 25 minutes. You can do anything for 25 minutes. Huge amounts of money is exchanged out of country to country within seconds. So we can do something for 25 minutes. Just 25 minutes, and then stop and take a 5-minute break. And if you do that to another project, 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Do another project, 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Don't do 26 minutes or just 1 more minute. No, stop. Keep that momentum of the dopamine going by taking the 5-minute break. And then you can go back to it or start a new project. And then after you've done that 3 times, take yourself a 30-minute break. Go take a nap, go take a walk. Literally stick to that time frame. Don't, well, I'm already in it, let me just continue. No. There's a point. You're trying to change your behavior. You're trying to develop a new strategy. You will develop one that lasts longer than 25 minutes. But right now isn't the time. Right now it's what you're trying to do is temporary. So what you want to do is permanent. Make it a permanent strategy. So taking 25 minutes, 5 minutes off. Do another project or the same one, 25 minutes, 5 minutes off. Literally set your timer to it. It's crucial that the timer's set so that you have that element. So after you do that, and you've done that like all day long, you've done these little 30-minute breaks, guess what? Things get done, things got done, and you feel a lot better. And your dopamine hit has stayed with you the entire day. Instead of trying to cram it all done, oh, I'm done. And then you spend the rest of the day being, a couch potato. You don't want to do that. So some of the other things that can be done to help you with implementing a plan and your environment. Your environment is very important. It can influence your triggers. So going to the slide, next slide, your environment can, in procrastination, can influence your triggers. As I said in part 1, your workspace is disorganized, distractions, piles of papers. It makes it difficult to focus on these tasks. So just one chunk. If you've got a bunch of papers on your desk, great. I went and bought myself and it was worth every penny. It's an A to Z sorter. And you can use file folders and make your own if you want. But I just take a piece of paper, whatever it starts with, except for or the, none of those kinds of words. But anything else, I will, if it says mental bank, the mental bank, I ignore the M, I put M. So this goes under the M. So I put all my M things together. I just go through, and it expands to about probably that big when I'm all done. Now I've got all my A things together, and they may not even be related, but everything is A, all through Z is in there. So it does make it easy because now I can just go to file folders and start creating file folders, which is another 25-minute project. This is a 25-minute project, creating that, take a 5-minute break, that kind of thing. And you can just one piece at a time. Again, I'm preaching to the choir, my own choir. Woo-hoo. Okay, so increasing productivity, one needs to have an environment that is conducive to the workspace and the output. My next slide is understanding the inner workings of the subconscious mind. Again, I'm repeating this. It's key to understanding how to create new behaviors by creating new strategies. And this is where hypnotherapy can be of help. We're going to get into a little more detail of that in just a moment. But staying motivated, as I said, 25-minute hits, 5-minute breaks. Achievable goals, rewarding yourself with those little breaks. Do not use food as a reward. It's not healthy to use food as a reward. Holding on to oneself and holding yourself to be accountable. Sometimes we don't want to be accountable. Accountability strategies such as telling someone else your goals, but you want to find that person that you don't want to disappoint. It's like, this is the one person that if I tell them I'm doing this, I better do it. And you're holding yourself accountable to that person because you don't want to hurt them. Procrastination. So the next slide. In conclusion, procrastination is not a condition. It's a response to a trigger. I'm going to get into the hypnotherapy part just a minute. Hang on. There's so much more to procrastination than this show can display or talk about, and I'm just barely scratching the surface. But hypnotherapy and using the use of hypnosis can greatly increase your sense of motivation and desire to get stuff done. The first thing I'm going to work with you on is trying to figure out why you're procrastinating. How long has it been going on? Take you on a timeline journey where it started, or can you remember a time when? So even now, just think about when. When was the last time I knew I was not procrastinating? When was a time that I knew that, I got stuff done? And I'm going to find out when that is, if I possibly can, or allow you to find that out. And then take that moment. We're going to go even before that and see what was going on. Sometimes procrastination can start as a trigger from a trauma or situation. It just gets in the way. And then in a hypnotic state, which you are very much aware of, you're alert, it's very heightened awareness. Hypnosis is just a escape into that subconscious mind where you're very relaxed and you are in control. Because if you don't like anything that's suggested, you don't have to accept it. Your subconscious mind will not accept anything that will affect your moral compass. So there's no chance of getting stuck in hypnosis or anything like that. It's not witchcraft. It's not magic. It's not a cure. It's just a way to help motivate you, putting that thing, that the known associations that are in the subconscious mind brings emotional pleasure. So anything that's in the subconscious mind that's bringing emotional pleasure to you, let's change that so that the things that are now doing, when I make my bed, I have emotional pleasure. When I don't make it, it's emotional discomfort. I better go make my bed, getting the dishes done or doing that project or keeping things organized. One of the things I'm very dogmatic about in my office, and I can be fluffed on anything else, but my client files are very important to me to keep organized and, always know where they are, because I have some that sit in one location that are current clients that I see, and then some are clients that I see not as often, and then some are past clients. So I'm very, very careful about where these client files live because I never know when I'm going to need them. And sometimes it's going through history, just finding out wow, I've seen this client, I forgot all about this one or whatever. So it could be kind of fun too. But I will not be procrastinating on my client files. Even if I don't find it. And there's a content creator, her name's Mel Robbins on Instagram. I love her. She says, when you have a thought to do something, you have about 5 seconds, so the brain's going to kill it. So 5 seconds. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get up and go do the thing that you had a thought to go do right now. Go do it. Just do it. It's like that will help motivate you to do more and do more and do more. In procrastination, in hypnosis, the motivation part is probably the biggest aspect of what I get to do with people. And then developing a sense of confidence, a sense of security, and just calming down that sense of overwhelmingness. But overcoming procrastination can lead to increased productivity, reduced stress, personal growth. You just have a lot more time on your hands that you didn't before. It never occurred to me when I was first keeping house that I could keep a house clean all the time, whether I had company or not. It's like, wow, that means I never have to worry about somebody immediately just walking over and then, seeing my house. I got caught, with egg on my face a few times. Procrastination is something that you can overcome. It's something that you can strive to. I highly encourage you. Consultations with me are free. And I'd be happy to talk to you and even give you some pointers on how to help you right away over the phone. Hypnosis is a very effective tool that can help you overcome the thing called procrastination. It's not a condition. It's a trigger, it's a stimulus to a response to something. So it's a behavior that you learned how to do. And before I end, this week's coffee mugs are, I have coffee mugs made for people. So I had one made for me, that's my name, Isla Brock, and one for my boyfriend, and they're kind of matching. So like sometimes I'll drink out of his, and sometimes he'll drink out of mine. I think it's kind of romantic. So anyway, yeah, I get these done. I'm going to give them a plug. I don't get paid for it, but it's by a company called Personalization Mall. They're a really cool company. I've probably purchased 150 mugs from them with people's names on it. Anyway, that's it for this show. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching, listening. Please call me if you have any questions. My name and number are on every slide. I'd love to chat with you about your issue. Take care, and I look forward to next time.